Our final speaker is Murray Hadley, and if you listen to Murray again at the Resources Summit and GECO Electrical, it is an amazing story, and I have a pleasure of welcoming Murray up here and telling his story again.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for taking the time to see me, and I know I'm standing between all of you and probably a carton of beer somewhere, so I'll make it as quickly as I possibly can. This afternoon I actually am going to tell a different story to what I told at the Economic Summit, and the story today is about how we engage with government departments and what we did and why we did it to build the growth that we've had in our business. Firstly, the evolution, I guess is the right word, of GECO Electrical. The story began nearly 13 years ago. There was a company called Petrochem Electrical, I'm sure some of you remember that, there's plenty of locals here. We rebadged that to Geraldton Electrical Co. And then 5 years ago, with a change in ownership and some other changes in the business, we rebadged earlier this year to GECO Electrical. Back when we changed the business from Petrochem to Geraldton Electrical, we were turning over about $1 million a year per annum and 12 people. We're now looking at 20 million plus per year, and right at the moment, I keep losing count, but I think it's about 110 or 120 people. I need to profess my pessimism to anyone showing up at my office with a business card that's got a .gov.au end on their address, on their email address, and my first reaction is generally to try and run away, hence that slide. However, I would like to share our experience with Enterprise Connect, because it's been a great one, and also with the Department of Commerce. Firstly though, Enterprise Connect. We were introduced to Enterprise Connect by the Midwest Chamber of Commerce, and they were introduced to us as a federally funded organisation that could review a business and not recommendations, but could also provide assistance on those recommendations. I have to admit to having low expectations about the program, until the consultant said that assistance could be in the form, you've already heard this from another speaker, assistance could be in the form of dollar for dollar up to 20K. To say my interest level in the program rose somewhat would be an understatement. It certainly had my attention. Cheers. Now, I'm not sure, oh, yeah, we can see this. The review told us a lot of things, but it told us a lot of things we already knew and some things we didn't. In fact, the report was 47 pages long. One of the key things in it, and I obviously can't go through the whole 47 pages, but one of the key things in this was this graph. If everyone can see that, I don't have a pointer. Basically, it's the same graph, and transposed in the bigger graph from the smaller one is all the ratings of different companies that they've done over a long period of time. And we are the red square. So we made the contender side, and we're not quite at world class, but I'd be kind of interested to see, that was 2 years ago, so I'd be interested to see what we look like now. As I said, it's 2 years ago, and after 2 years of working with Enterprise Connect, they asked us to participate in a promotional video. And I showed this video at the Economic Summit a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to show it again shortly. My disclaimer at the Economic Summit was that the producer said I was going to look like Brad Pitt out of this. He lied. And in fact, the kids at home said, their words were, that was just an epic fail, Muzz. So, yeah, I'll leave you to form your own opinion. If we can play that, hopefully.
Geraldton at the present is going through a real growth stage with the mining industry. The resource boom is something that's been coming for a while. A lot of businesses are finding it hard at the moment to get resources to actually service it. GECO Electrical is the name of the business. Essentially what we're doing is electrical and instrumentation works. We're specialists in industrial and infrastructure. Our business turns over around about the $10 million mark. This year's going to be upwards of 20, and so now we need to try and keep that traction in the market and keep pushing forward. There's always change. As shareholders, we all had different views of what would happen if one of us did exit the business. We needed a bit of help with it. We got introduced to Enterprise Connect from another business organisation. The business advisor recommended to do a business review. One of the key items that they did was tailored advisory services. So they come out with a bunch of outcomes basically and said, this is what we think you should have a look at. We pride ourselves on the systems and processes we already have in place. After the review, we realised we had a few holes. They asked us to look at whether we had a strategy if one of the shareholders wasn't here because they're key people, and come up with a cross-section of how our business is interpreted by our employees. Even though we had it in our heads as shareholders, we didn't have it documented or shared with all our people about what our future looked like. The goal for GECO is to be a statewide recognised industrial and infrastructure specialist. Profitable, sustainable and hopefully saleable one day. As a result of some of the Enterprise Connect work we've done, we've rebranded. We were formerly known as Geraldton Electrical, and the rebranding is now putting our positioning statement as being statewide. We've got a couple of exciting projects at the moment. We're down at the Port Authority at the moment with Carrara. This is the biggest, most complex project we've done to date. This job is worth $15 million to GECO Electrical. And the wind farm that we're doing for Leighton Resources. I've recommended Enterprise Connect to I don't know how many businesses. A lot.
One of the recommendations from our review was that we should consider having our should have our in-house quality system third-party audited. There's been a lot said about the value or lack of in relation to a formalised quality system. What we've found, and this is our future where we're heading, is that a third-party audited system would enable our tendering and project delivery to be more streamlined, save us some time, open up opportunities more readily, and we then realise that the accreditation simply requires us to document and verify what we already do. We're achieving this by using our current business model that we call functionality. Earlier this year we had a visit from another .gov card wielding representative, this time from the Department of Commerce. The need to flee this time was not so crucial, as my experience showed that it was worth talking to these people. We were introduced to the department's industry facilitation and support program, and you heard someone talk about that earlier. The timing for us proved to be right. We felt our systems were in good shape. However, the auditing of a quality system is an expensive exercise, and it was hard to justify nearly $50,000 to do so. The more I spoke with the Department of Commerce, I realised here was the help we needed to complete our business jigsaw. As we were engaged in the resources sector, we applied to the Industry Facilitation and Support Program for funding. The process was not difficult, and we were able to access dollar for dollar funding again to appoint a third-party quality auditor. Our first major audit will be in a few weeks. We're not only hoping to achieve accreditation for our quality system, which is ISO 9001, but we're also hoping to achieve accreditation for our health, safety and environment systems. Accreditation takes our business to a new level, which will garner us industry acceptance and compliance. Without the assistance from the Department of Commerce, I dare say we'd still be talking about how the hell we're going to do it. Next one. Okay. I've talked about a couple of programs there, the Enterprise Connect and the Department of Commerce's program. There's no magic in these. There's no golden rule, there's nothing special. There is a cost to business outside of matching dollars, and it's the commitment of your time and energy. You'll also need to provide reports on progress and complete a few forms. You get out of the program, particularly the Enterprise Connect scheme program, only what you're prepared to put into it. You need to be comfortable to be asked a few hard questions and not be scared of change. As we've had business coaches for several years now, having someone provide an objective opinion is something we're used to, and I believe should be embraced by all business. And guess what that's about? As we have a few people in the room tonight associated with our state buying policies, I'd like to take the opportunity to stand on my favourite soapbox. The lack of qualified trade resources in our state is nothing short of chronic. Training is imperative and has been for some time. Now, I'm about to share something, and I'm quite happy to be corrected by people who probably know more about it than I do, but The last time I asked the question about how training is assessed as a part of a state government-funded tender, and I'm probably talking about open tenders here, we heard the difference earlier, I was informed that it was a compliance issue only. It was a tick box, in other words, and not a weighted issue. In other words, you could be a contractor that provides training opportunities to a multitude, or a contractor that had a very poor record in training, and you got the same tick. This appears to me to be an inequity in the tender review process that needs addressing. I've talked a lot about implementing change tonight, and I often hear people say they think something could be better only if this or that was different. I'd like to leave you with this saying: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Thanks for listening.